Hello, I'm Kay McDonald, and welcome to the Power of Charms. This is our interview series where we interview amazing women doing amazing things, and it all ties in with the good that they're doing in the world as well. And today I have someone really special. Her name is Julie Jones. And Julie and I were just talking about the power of LinkedIn, and we actually were introduced through somebody on LinkedIn. So very, very interesting. And then, of course, we just hit it off. Famously, and we found out we're both Geminis.
We're a rare breed. That's why we get along so well.
We're creative, and there's like 8 of us running it at one time. But Julie has a company called The Adventures of Julie Jones, and it's multifaceted. And I think what you do is so interesting. And then your background is so interesting. You were a policewoman, and now you have your own consulting firm, and you run Lead Up Women here in Phoenix, and you're involved in philanthropy. So many things. Julie, tell us about yourself, what you're doing right now, and I'll ask more questions, but give us the background on Julie Jones.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's my favorite subject to talk about myself. Right? I think that's the case for everybody, especially when you are a Gemini. Right. So The Adventures of Julie Jones, yes, it's kind of the umbrella of like who I am and how I live life. And I'm really super passionate about people living in the now. And I saw that because of being a former police officer and how quickly life can change. And I've seen it in my own life as well. My mom passed away at the age of 59 from early onset Alzheimer's. And so when you have those impacting moments in your life, it really makes you kind of take stock of what it is that you want to be doing. And so from little on, I've always had the philosophy to serve. To whom much is given, much is expected. And so I love to help people. And that's come in many different facets through my life. I thought I could do it much more with law enforcement. And there were opportunities, but not always 100% positive, opportunities. But being in law enforcement gave me a really big skill set that most people don't have. And then it's led me to being an award-winning speaker and coach. I coach people both personally and professionally. And I do sit on boards. I sit on a board of a nonprofit called OCJ Kids, which I absolutely love. And again, like I'm always looking for opportunities on how I can give back and serve.
Oh, well, you do so much for so many people. I see a sign behind you, and the top of it's a little bit cut off, but I know what it says. It says, "Get shit done." Now, you're a productivity coach too, right?
Yes. So that is my platform under The Adventures of Julie Jones, GSD coaching, or Get Shit Done. And well, first of all, it really speaks to people because like when you say that, no matter what people are doing in a networking event, they stop and they look up like, oh my gosh, did she just really say that? So, but it is because I find that if you're going to live your best life now, you really have to incorporate that productivity. It's like there's so many things in life that sometimes we procrastinate on. We think we have forever. And, I just have found that you don't. And it's like all of a sudden, you're 95 and you're on your deathbed and you have regrets of what you didn't do versus what you did do. So I really want to help people make the most of their time without losing their sanity. Because, like multitasking and busy, as I call it, like just being busy to be busy, but are you really being productive? So many people wear it as a badge of honor, and it's not. It's, it creates stress and drama and like anxiety and all these issues. And it's like, you can be productive and still have this amazing life and get a lot done.
You don't have to be a rat on a wheel.
No.
I think I need your services. Hey, can you share with us, do you have like top 3 hacks just to share with us on ways that people can be more productive?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of my life hacks that I love to share with people is done is better than perfect. We really, and maybe you've heard that before, and maybe this time it'll resonate with you. We just sometimes get so wrapped up in the perfectionism that it just never gets finished or accomplished. And there are so many things like you can always go back and rework it, but there's such a sense of accomplishment, like when you finally just do get it, done.
Mm.
And then one of my other life hacks is that no is a complete sentence.
I love that.
So, like I am so passionate about people saying yes to life, but say no to the things that really don't speak to your heart. Now, as human beings, we all do love to give back. I just really encourage people that if you are going to say yes to a request, ask for at least 24 hours before you really do say yes. Because once you say yes, you're committed. But prior to that, really look at the time that it's going to take. I mean, so many times we think we're saying yes because there could be networking opportunities or business opportunities. And yet we just find we just put more on our plate.
Yeah.
And that just really doesn't serve anybody.
Doesn't serve us, doesn't serve the parties that have asked either. I think saying no is very difficult sometimes. I am always asked to do things and give things, and I know we all are. So that's definitely something I need to work on. Probably everybody does.
Well, we all do, because it's not always easy. And there's ways that you can say no that, like if you're worried about hurting people's feelings, most people would rather know that it's a no and that you say it promptly and you say it with kindness. Like they know when you're coming from your heart. And again, it's like there's nothing worse than saying yes. And then they feel your reluctance throughout the entire project because you said yes when you really wanted to say no. And no is sometimes the kindest thing that you can say to people, or give people an alternative. Like, oh, you know what? I'm so honored that you asked me. I just really don't have the time to, to devote to this. But my good friend Kay McDonald, she has plenty of time that she would love to be able to help you out. Now, when I say that, it's like, yeah, don't throw your friends under the bus. Like, really do realize if somebody is looking for volunteer opportunities that you're saying the right name and not giving somebody else more work to do.
Oh my gosh.
And then, I have so many, but I think that the third one that I am going to say is that you are a priority. And so when you're looking at your calendar, to really put into your calendar first the things that are most important to you and put those in pen. They're like non-negotiable items, and that you really are focused in. And I always say self-care is not selfish. So if you're not taking care of yourself, you're really no good to anybody else. And like I've had moments where I have been saying yes to everything and everyone that I've had complete meltdowns where I'm like crying and I'm like, now I'm backing away from everything. Like I'm calling people up. No, I got to remove myself. Like this is crazy. Like I don't know how I just did this to myself. And I've really worked not to get to that point again. But, really when you look at your calendar, like what is a priority to you? Is it like that morning, routine time, the time you want to spend with family? Because it's not all like work, or play. And like, there is no such thing as balance. It's like balance and counterbalance is how I look at it. Because you're going to go at extremes at any point of life.
Mhm.
But keeping you and what's important to you as a priority is really going to make the difference.
Yeah, and so many women that will be listening to this are entrepreneurs, own their own business, and I can speak from my heart. The work is never done, and creating a balance and making sure that you take care of yourself. For me, that's my biggest challenge. So, yeah, I'm sure that you have lots of people that can use your services there.
Well, and honestly, like especially when you work from home or you have a home office, it's so easy. Oh, just one more thing. And before you know it, it's 10 o'clock at night.
Mhm,
So a lot of like with that art of saying no is setting boundaries.
mhm.
Like what are your office hours going to be? Are you willing to work on Sundays or not? Or even Saturdays. Like for some people, it's like they work really hard Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday is their time, their downtime. Because the most important thing that, like, especially as women, we need to know is that that downtime, even if it's just vegging out, like watching Netflix, sometimes people go to beat up mode over that. But that's when the creativity sets in. It's
Mm.
like, you know, just thinking about nothing or doing nothing, all of a sudden these brilliant ideas start to come to you, but you won't have those opportunities if you're not giving yourself that downtime.
Yeah, absolutely. It's there's a Italian phrase, if I can remember it. La dolce di fa niente means the sweetness of doing nothing.
Ah, I like it.
Yeah, I lived in Italy when I was younger, and the Italians always took their siesta or their, riposo in the afternoon.
Yeah, I think as 5-year-olds, we had it right. Like I'd be like forced nap time, and now I'm like, oh man, I need a nap. And like I'll honor myself. Like if I need a nap, like 15 minutes does, me wonders sometimes, just to meditate, relax, like just regroup myself and then carry on with the rest of my day. So I am not opposed to naps.
Hey, one of the things I like to ask when I interview interesting women like you is there's always another side to people. And for me, symbols are really important in my life. That's why I ended up doing charms and writing my book, The Power of Charms. But half the fun of doing these interviews is finding out what symbols define the women that I interview. So you have another whole side to you that we talked about before, and it's really fascinating. So tell me about it. Tell me what your symbol is.
Okay, so my symbol is, of all things, like skeleton skulls. So I'm a big Dias de los Muertos fan, always have been. I think since I moved here to Arizona. So it kind of started with my favorite holiday has always been Halloween. And not for like the evil spookiness of it. I just think that costumes bring out like so much fun in people. It's like that alter ego, alter identity, right? And so, but when I came out here and I saw all the beautiful colors around like Dias de los Muertos and the really cool skeletons and skulls. And it's like, it's always interesting when you tell people, oh yeah, I collect skulls. And they're like, wait a second. And I'm like talking decorative, like bright, like fun, like make you smile kind of things. But interestingly enough, I thought to myself one time, like, I'm just going to look up because everything has a meaning. And so when I looked up skeletons and skulls, in particular skulls, it turns out that they are a symbol for rebirth. And so I just find that fascinating because I think as I've grown and changed and as I've progressed in my life, I've always been in the process of rediscovering myself and who I really am. And like I'm proud to admit that I'm 53, and it's like in my 20s and 30s you just have so much like confusion into the direction of where you're going. And my 40s and my 50 and now in my early 50s has just been amazing because I'm like, this is me, take it or leave it. But and throughout that process, the skeletons and the skulls have played a really big role in my life for the last 20 years.
And I never knew that they meant rebirth, but that makes so much sense. And I think you just treated yourself to a really special skull item in Nashville, didn't you?
I did. I got myself some really awesome skull boots, some skull cowboy boots. They're so fantastic. I just wore them again this past weekend. And I absolutely love them. And I get so many compliments on them because they're unusual.
Well, they are.
Yeah, they're really cool.
Well, we're going to have to add a skull charm to our line because I imagine you're not the only person that holds them in their heart. And I also wanted to talk about your book. You're writing a book that's coming out in November. It's called Stop Waiting, Start Living. And it's a compilation book. And you're looking for people to write in your book,
yes,
right?
I have a few spots left, and I'm looking for people who really want to get a message out there about something that that they did in life, that they just stopped living in fear, that they stopped waiting around for the right time, the right weight, having the right amount of money, whatever it is. And they just went out and they pushed themselves through and they really started living. So stories of inspiration that also have like a message behind them. So I've had so many instances of that in my life as well. And, in my journey of being a speaker and coach, one of the things that I've discovered, and I'm sure you did, Case, because congratulations, you just launched your book and stuff as well, which is super exciting, is that there's a lot of credibility that people put in authors. And so if people are looking for additional speaking opportunities, well, they actually look at people who have published a book first before they'll consider other people. But it's even the media is looking to talk to people who have published books. And so if you've ever thought about, and some people are like, oh, I'm not a writer. I'm like, well, listen, it's a 1,500 word chapter. Like I've got a whole coaching plan in place to help people, like, to do their chapter, to feel comfortable with it, to have some fun with it. We're going to do a book launch, and then there's like summits, and you'll be on podcasts, and it's just going to be, you know what? I just want to make it a really fun journey for people, especially if it's your first time, and it's my first time, I'm really super excited. I published an article in a magazine, which that was like a huge, goal for me. And I was like, wow, I can do this. So if I can do that, I can write a book. So I'm excited.
That's so exciting. I'll have to share the word, especially with some of the gals that were in the book, because I think everybody kind of has writing a book on their bucket list, but a lot of people never get it done. I had mine for years. And so I just launched what I call volume 1. And I plan to have volume 2, 3, 4. And then once that comes out, then we're going to do a nice coffee table book.
That's going to be
in it.
Awesome.
Yeah. So tell me, Julie, you are a coach. What is your perfect client? Tell us what that looks like.
It's so interesting you should bring this up, because I was in a networking group today, and there's a bunch of us business owners that were talking about, who is it as your client? And what I find that I'm attracting most are individuals who have been in business for a while, and they're ready to take the next step. Mm-hmm. And scale their business and really grow, both personally and professionally. Because I believe on how you do one thing is how you do everything. And so coaching gives you the accountability, but it gives me the ability to look at things from an outside perspective, 360-degree view. I don't need to know about your business. I don't need to know the ins and outs. I'm just going to come with a fresh perspective and, be able to help support you in where it is that you want to go. And and some places don't even have a vision or a culture or whatever it is. So I can help employers with workshops and those types of things as well. But I just really get excited. I mean, I just had a woman that is a client of mine, and she just shared with me, like, after one small session, her sessions just happened to be 30 minutes. She said, like, what she got in that 30 minutes was well worth the cost. Like, she didn't even have to have any more coaching sessions, that information was, and I was like, wow, that really spoke to me, because sometimes I think as any business owner, it's like, are we really making an impact? Are we really making a difference?
Right.
And I do know that I can do that. And I always offer people the opportunity to meet with me, complimentary for 30 minutes, an hour, and see if we're a good fit. And then we go from there.
Well, everybody needs a coach to keep developing, I think, and growing.
Absolutely. I have a coach. It's like
every coach has a coach.
Yeah. Listen, if you're working with a coach that doesn't have a coach, you're going to start, reflecting on whether that's the right coach or not. So we're all learning and growing. Like, we're all on that journey. So.
Hey, you mentioned networking, and I think that is something that is very, very important for any business, but especially for female-owned business, single business owners, that don't have a big team or anything. I know that has been kind of a lifeline for me all these years, to belong to different women's groups and have that support system. And you are the chapter director of Lead Up for Women here in Phoenix, right?
Yes.
So tell us about that and the importance of networking. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, for me, networking, bottom line, is all about building relationships. And not just on a professional level, but on a personal level as well. There's the saying that, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so it's really, key, because here I believe that Arizona is what I would call a transient state, that everybody's coming from somewhere else, right? Mm-hmm. And so you have to build those relationships and have that trust factor in place in order to want to do business with other people. And and it's so much easier to get a warm referral than a cold lead.
Sure.
Like, nobody likes to pick up the phone and have to be cold calling, right? And
everybody hates that.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
but so like if like so like the guy that introduced us, I mean, how easy was it to like reach out and make that connection because we already had that introduction. Like,
mhm.
oh yeah, like I'm like I would love to meet Kay, and then we meet and like it's bam, like we're like, wow, this is awesome, like another amazing woman in my life. And so that's why a friend of mine started 3 years ago the national lead up for women. So she started it from scratch. It was all over the country. And now she decided this year to launch chapters in particular states.
Mhm.
So she asked me to be the launch director here in Arizona. And then there's one that's launching in Illinois as well, kind of the Chicago area. And so really it's about bringing women together to collaborate.
Mhm.
So there's education and there's, the networking component and just really finding out, and having some fun. Like that's always like key. Like you got to have fun when you're doing this. And, we don't limit it to like one per business or anything like that. It's like everybody's welcome. Come and check us out, and just find out like if it's a right fit for you. And I just love introducing, women, especially to each other, because I believe women are going to change the world.
And so are our pets. I hear a little doggy in the back.
Yes, I know. My one little dog. Yeah, I lock the other two out. She's usually pretty quiet. So,
That's cute. Well, listen, I know that people will want to get in touch with you. What is the best place for them to reach out to you? Is it theadventureofjuliejones.com?
well, actually, so my website, which is just about ready to be done. My web designer is like waiting on some information from me, but it's juliejones.biz.
Okay.
But I'm also all over social media, and on social media, it is Adventures of Julie Jones. So on Facebook and Instagram, and if you look up on LinkedIn, Julie Jones Gets Shit Done, you'll find me.
Well, you know what I love about that is it's easy to remember and it grabs everybody's attention and you obviously know what you're doing. So anyway, it's been a joy to talk to you today, Julie. I look forward to working on projects with you and I just joined your group. And thank you to Ryan Parker for our introduction.
Absolutely. And Ryan Parker sits on the board with me with OCJ Kids, and I'm super excited for you to develop a charm for OCJ as well as my skull one.
Yes.
I might just have to like buy them all and like send them out to all my friends because they know that I just absolutely love skulls.
Oh, well, it's going to be fun to do both of those projects. And anyway, if you need some good coaching, if you need to get shit done, contact Julie Jones.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Kay, for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
Take care. Bye-bye.